What's up, Raspberry Pi enthusiasts? And we are starting your favourite guide through the silicon jungle. Listen, we've been in this community together for ages. We've seen it all from blinking an LED via Python to running Pentagon servers on a literal potato. But what's happening right now in the DIY scene? Guys, it's absolutely mind-blowing. While giant megacorporations are building data centres the size of Texas, guzzling electricity like there's no tomorrow, and trying to hook us on their cloud-based cash milkers for $20 a month, our boys in the garages are pulling a massive 4D chess move. They're taking our good old glorious Raspberry Pi and building Terminators on it, local ones, right in their pockets. Today, we are going to look at 4 absolute geniuses who got tired of Big Brother listening to them through smart speakers and decided to build their own AI gadgets. And you know what? It's absolute cinema. We're going to dissect their builds, laugh at their janky workarounds, and, of course, quietly envy their golden hands.
Alright, project number 1. This dude builds a microscopic AI chatbot that literally fits in your sweaty palm. Just look at this beauty. It's powered by a Raspberry Pi 02W, and here is the first shocker. This tiny thing is running AI. The author grabs a Pi Sugar 3 battery pack, slaps a Wisplay HAT screen on top with a mic and speaker, and secures it all together with nylon screws. Nylon. Mad respect for the aesthetics, bro. No short circuits, just pure vibes.
The author flashes a fresh Debian, clones some repos, and here we see the classic Linux gaming experience: git clone, then bash install .sh, and, of course, waiting for this micro rig to compile the dependencies. Seriously, he's building a Docker container on a Pi Zero. Do you have any idea how long that takes? In the half a minute to a minute, he modestly claims in the video, I have enough time to brew a coffee, rethink my life choices, and cry over the Bitcoin exchange rate. And then this little crumb starts talking. Sounds pretty neat, right? But there is one little nuance that makes my face cringe. The author uses the OpenAI API. Yep, guys, this whole pocket-sized beauty is essentially just a glorified Bluetooth speaker that sends your audio recordings over Wi-Fi straight to Sam Altman. They are literally fiddling around with someone else's servers. It's cool for a start, a great hello world in the hardware AI space. But we love the hardcore stuff, don't we? We need independence from the clouds. And this is where project number 2 enters the stage. Look at this absolute unit. We're not playing games anymore. This guy takes the freshest Raspberry Pi 5. And not just any Pi 5, but the 8GB RAM version. 8 gigs, Carl. Back in 2010, we hosted national gaming servers on that much memory, and here it's needed just so a pocket chatterbox can load a language model into its brain. But what really sent me was the cooling. The author straight up says, "This setup gets so hot you could fry breakfast on it." I love the honesty. The Pi 5 isn't your chilly old Pi 3. It guzzles power and radiates heat like a miniature nuclear reactor. So what does our hero do? He needs to sandwich the Pi Sugar 3 battery on the bottom and the Wisplay screen on top. But the heatsink and fan are in the way. He just takes pliers and literally bends the fan mounting pins so it all fits. That right there is the true path of the DIY-er. A file, some duct tape and brute physical force, the true sponsors of any innovation. Now, here's why this guy is genuinely a legend. He does everything completely offline. Kill the Wi-Fi, smash the routers, let the zombie apocalypse begin, and this thing will still talk to you. He uses a stack that has basically become the de facto standard for enthusiasts. Whisper Tiny for speech to text. Runs great on the PCPU. Olamar for the LLM itself. He chose Qwen 3.0 with 1.7 billion parameters because, according to him, DeepSeek R1 talks too much. Relatable? And Piper for speech synthesis. And you know what the funniest part is? The installation. He downloads the Olamar archive to his laptop, throws it over FTP to the Pi, and installs it locally because, I quote, the script downloads the archive straight to the Pi, and that is super slow. We see through the 4D chess here, right? SD cards and slow I/O on single board computers. That's a specific type of pain only understood by someone who has waited for a gigabyte.tar.gz to unpack on a class 10 flash drive. When he asks the bot to tell a joke, the bot starts to think. The screen shows the thought process, and in the background, we hear the Raspberry Pi fan taking off into low Earth orbit. The poor ARM processor is sweating buckets trying to multiply matrices. But it works. An absolutely independent AI in a plastic box. Glorious. But hold your horses. If the previous guy made a cool offline brick, the next author... Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this guy just went intergalactic. He didn't just build a smart speaker. He recreated BMO from Adventure Time. Let's just savour this process. The man does everything from scratch. He designed a custom PCB in KiCad for the buttons so they act as a real USB controller. He modelled the case in Blender, 3D printed it, and then started painting. And here, attention, highly relatable moment. He left the spray paint can in a cold garage and the paint applied with a texture looking like an old Super Nintendo. He called it a happy accident. Bro, we all do that. Any screw up during 3D printing or painting isn't a bug. It's a feature, a design choice. But the real meat starts in the software. This guy didn't just build a chatbot, he built an agent. Listen closely, because this is the trend for the next few years. A chatbot is a dumb console. Text goes in, text goes out. An agent is an entity that has tools. The author wrote a Python script, orchestrator.py, that manages a ring audio buffer, respect for understanding audio processing, catches the wake word via a custom model, and then feeds the input to the brain. And the brain here has a surprise. He uses Qwen 2.5 on 1.5 billion parameters for basic chatter. But if the task is complex, like finding the size of a black hole, the agent realizes it's a bit too smooth-brained for that and delegates the query to the cloud, to Kimmy, or Claude. But that's not all. The author embedded an official Raspberry Pi camera into BMO and taught the agent to switch models on the fly. When he asks, well, what do you see? The script halts the text model, offloads it, loads the VLM, Vision Language Model, Moondream from memory, feeds it the picture, gets a description, and then answers. And here the author slammed face first into the brutal reality of hardware. He admits, this takes a ton of time. Unloading and loading a model from an SD card every time is like turning your car's engine off and on at every red light. So what does he do? He throws the SD card in the trash, installs an NVMe SSD via a PCIe adapter, and rewrites the code so the models always hang in the RAM. And since he has a 16GB Pi 5, where did he even get one? They cost as much as an airplane wing. It all fits. Now that's what I call the engineering approach. It's not a toy anymore. It's a fully interactive robot that even lets you play retro games. Hats off. But if you think the magic ends there, you forgot who the absolute godfather of Raspberry Pi perversions is. Meet Jeff Geerling, the man who shoves PCIe devices into a Pi with such sheer willpower, you'd think the salvation of humanity depended on it. You've all heard about DeepSeek R1, a Chinese startup, a $6 million budget, and a model that puts the hyped-up billion-dollar OpenAI solutions in a chokehold. OpenAI was used to resting on their laurels, thinking their monopoly on compute was eternal, and then some guys from a garage show up and say, here are the open weights, boys. The whole industry is shook, but there's a problem. The full DeepSeek R1 weighs 400 gigabytes. You can't run it on a Pi, even if you ask very nicely and sprinkle it with holy water. The distilled 14 billion parameter model boots up, but outputs, brace yourselves, 1.2 tokens per second. That means the bot types out an answer slower than my grandma texting on a flip phone. For coding or brainstorming, that is pure agony. So what does our boy Jeff do? He says, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps, grabs an expansion board and hooks up a massive chunky AMD Radeon W7700 graphics card with 16 gigs of fast VRAM to the poor little Raspberry Pi. Just look at this absolute hardware obscenity. A single board computer running on 5 volts chained to a GPU that is physically larger than this microcomputer's entire existence. Peak gaming, ladies and gents, just peak gaming. And guess what? It works. The speed shoots up to 50 tokens per second. All the heavy math, all the matrix multiplication is offloaded to the GPU. The Pi's CPU is just smoking in the corner, casually passing data through the bus. It's 10 times faster.
Links to the original videos of these mad geniuses are in the description. Go drop them a comment and tell them they're absolute chads. Catch you later. Never stop creating, break the systems, compile those kernels, and may root be with you. Peace.